Hey everybody, ABC 10 meteorologist Brendan Minchef. I'm going to give you a very favorable weather forecast here. We've got very seasonal weather, very nice weather, not just through this coming weekend, but through most of next week. However, I am tracking the next rain chance, at least what could be our next rain chance. That's not for this coming weekend. That would be for the following weekend, October 25th and 26th. Before we get to all that, let's look at where we've been, because we did have a very active week. In fact, that 56 degrees on Tuesday, October 14th was the coldest day in Sacramento since February 12th. And every day since then, we've been slowly climbing out of that 56-degree temperature hole. We're going to be back to seasonal this weekend, but again, we're not going to talk about that just yet. I do want to recap the numbers in terms of rain that we've seen, because it's been a very, very nice start to our water year. The new water year started on October 1st. So these numbers for October and for the water year are going to match, because obviously we've only been in this new water year for 15, 16 days at this point. So our total so far in Sacramento, 1.86 inches. That for this month to date is well above the average of a third of an inch. And that departure from normal is plus 1.53 inches. Very good start to the water year. Obviously, we're going to need more in order to really put fire season to bed for good, and in order for us to get through this water year and feel comfortable with where we're at. But if we can maintain about 1.5 inches above normal all year long, we will definitely take that. Looking at statewide precip, because Southern California has seen some rain out of this system as well. There's Sacramento's number, again, 1.86. San Francisco's at 1 inch. Monterey at 9/10 of an inch. Santa Barbara at 1 inch. Los Angeles at 8/10 of an inch. And San Diego at 4/10 of an inch. As we look at that departure from normal, everywhere in blue is above. Everywhere in yellow is a little bit below. So only places in yellow, Palm Springs and Needles out in the desert. But again, the rest of the state is currently running above normal on the water year. That's good. We hope that we stay that way all winter long. But again, we are going to need some more, not just obviously for the water year, but to wrap up fire season for California. As we look at temperatures now for this weekend, it's going to be very seasonal, both Saturday and Sunday morning. As a matter of fact, this forecast could be for both days, because we're going to start off in those low 50s, both Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Not expecting any fog both days, although we could see some isolated fog, very, very, very patchy fog through parts of the Delta Saturday morning. But in general, it'll be a clear start to both Saturday and Sunday morning. Saturday afternoon, seasonal temperatures in the upper 70s to about 80 degrees. Again, this is about what I expect for Sunday as well. So a very pleasant weekend all around. And this is good, because we've got the Ironman Triathlon in Sacramento on Sunday. The race begins at 7 o'clock in the morning, and my forecast temperature for the start of the race is about 53 degrees. Again, that's about where we ought to be for the time of year. By lunchtime, middle 70s, and then as we get towards 4 or 5 o'clock, we're going to be topping out around 78 degrees. So seasonal all around from the start of the race to the afternoon and as we start to wrap up. So could not ask for better weather for Ironman, but really no matter what you're doing across Northern California this weekend. It was not that many years ago where we had some pretty heavy rain for the Ironman race. So again, could not have picked a better weekend. And the good weather continues, not just through Saturday and Sunday, but into the start of next week as well. Monday, 77, Tuesday, 77 degrees. That's exactly seasonal for the time of year. And then as we head into Wednesday, 75 degrees. That averages 76, but still, I'm going to call that perfectly normal, where we would expect to be. As we look at the weather pattern, very zonal. We're not going to see a lot of anything driving our weather pattern. High pressure out to the west, and it stays to the west. Low pressure passing to our north, but it stays north. A little cutoff low developing Monday and Tuesday. That weak little low will pass through on Wednesday. That's going to bring our temperatures down into the mid 70s. But again, by the time we get to Wednesday, the middle 70s is normal. That's where we'd expect to be. So there's just nothing driving the weather pattern through about all of next week. By Friday, we'll likely start to see some clouds building in, temperatures into those low 70s as this system drops into the Pacific Northwest. This looks to be a strong system that will bring us a chance for rain and snow once again for Northern California. But Look at the date here. This is next Sunday. This is a storm that's more than a week away. So I don't want to get too hung up on the details here because it's simply too far away to talk about the details. But there's good model agreement in that storm dropping into the Pacific Northwest and bringing us a chance of rain to Northern California. As we look at the 8 to 14-day climate outlook, which this storm falls into October 25th through 31st, leaning cooler is what the forecast is saying for Northern California. I'm currently forecasting temperatures in the 60s next weekend, so that tracks. But then additionally, very likely wetter across not just Northern California, but across much of the Pacific Northwest and even leaning wetter down in Southern California. So again, there's good model agreement in an approaching storm. We are not going to run through Futurecast. There's too much time for things to change. When we're talking about something that's a week away, that's an eternity in the weather business. What I will show you is the model comparison between the GFS model, that's the American model, and the European model. Widespread rain, Sierra snow on the European model, widespread rain, Sierra snow on the American model. This is for next Sunday. This particular timestamp is at noon next Sunday. This is all the Futurecast we're going to look at for now. The only reason I'm showing you this is to show you there's good model agreement, which is not always the case when you're talking about a week out. That's why I'm just putting this out on y'all's radar. For next weekend, October 25th through 26th, there is right now a chance for rain and snow returning to Northern California. Can't say anything else other than that. Cooler temperatures, rain and snow chances, that's it. It's too far out, can't talk details, can't nail down timing other than to say it does look like, based on the models that we're seeing as of the recording of this video, Friday evening, it does look like for next weekend, this storm would be centered around Saturday and Sunday. That's it. That's all I can say. So stay updated on the forecast. You're going to see rain icons on the weather app. You're going to see rain icons in just a second on the 10-day forecast. But don't change any plans. Just stay updated on the forecast. Let's see how this system evolves as we get closer to it. Over the next 5 days, we're not going to see any impacts. We're talking about very seasonal weather, very nice weather across the high country. In the foothills, temperature is going to be in those mid to upper 50s through Tuesday. Now in the high country, we're talking about low to mid 60s through Tuesday. Again, a little bit of a drop in temps on Wednesday as we get that weaker low pressure passing through, but it's not going to bring us any rain, not necessarily much in the way of clouds either. Just some slightly cooler than normal temperatures for the elevations. As we talk about the valley, very consistent through the weekend, 77, then 78. Morning low temperatures in the low 50s. That's where we'd expect to be. That's normal for the time of year. That pattern continues through Monday and through Tuesday. On Wednesday, we do dip into those mid 70s as opposed to the upper 70s. So, you may notice slightly cooler temperatures, but there's no real pattern change over the next 7 days. On Friday, especially through Friday afternoon and evening, it's likely we'll start to see some clouds building in. Afternoon highs on Friday do go below normal. We'll be in the low 70s across much of the valley. And then here we go. As we look at that extended part of the forecast, Saturday and Sunday, maybe even late Friday evening, that's when we could see that next storm system starting to come in. And you notice the afternoon temperatures are much, much cooler as well. We're back in those low to mid 60s in the valley. So again, I know we're all kind of looking at this because of those rain icons here, possible storm next weekend, but if we just kind of put that aside for a second, I'll just stand in front of it. Look at what we've got the next 7 days. Very perfect mid to late October weather for Northern California. It really does not get much better than this. So stay tuned because we could have another big pattern change on the way, but in the immediate future, things are going to be just fine. In terms of staying tuned, the ABC 10 Plus is a great way to do that. We've got a weather playlist there with extended forecasts and weather explainers. We've got a special up there, several of them, climate specials, and we've got next week a new one, California's Power Struggle. That one's going to be on the ABC 10 Plus app as well. That's all under the weather playlist. You can download this app wherever you stream. Thanks for watching.